So we're catching up with Franz and Leila, who have joined the M4U convention here at Phoenix Square in Leicester's Cultural Quarter, all the way from Rome. So welcome to Leicester.
Thank you.
Hi.
Excellent. Can you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do, either individually or together back in Rome, and what you're going to be doing this evening?
Okay, so this evening we present our audiovisual performance that is called Petline Number 1. Basically, is an audiovisual piece, so involves the use of sound and generative music, generative visuals. Sorry. What you will see is a sort of cloud made by pointer lines that is made with the use of chaos mathematics and generative stuff. In the same way, we develop the sound part. So also the sound part is made from audio samples, field recordings, but transmutated with the use of chaos mathematics and algorithmic stuff. Basically, the performance, we work on the performance as a developer for myself. So I develop the audio part and the visual part, the software for the audio part and the visual part, and control in live the sound. While Leila control the visual part, so the visual software, and she developed also the storyboard and the graphic concept. So she choose the colors, for example, or the camera movement, or basically she draws on paper some sketches that I redesign in Max.
Okay. So Leila, what sort of venues have you performed in back in Rome?
We traveled a lot. Basically in Rome we worked, but we stayed in Toronto, Canada, in Palermo in Italy, and Milan, and wherever.
In Rome we do a lot of stuff simply for the reason that we live there, so it's really simple to get in touch with people and festivals. But usually, for example, in Toronto was pretty nice because we was there, and there was this big festival of electroacoustic music, and so we simply presented the work and so on. Now I think that for the next month we will start to develop the second part of Petline Number 1, that will not be Petline Number 2, but will be Streamline Number 1, and then will follow Streetline Number 1. Just because Petline, Streamline and Streetlines are basically a mathematic theory, a mathematic tool, as I can see, to describe flux dynamics and so on. So I was inspired by scientific stuff, and I tried to develop an artistic concept around that. Okay.
Yeah, second part will be very different. And for instance, it will be, can we say that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, a little vocal part, because I'm also a singer, so a voice with visual and sound will be a great creation, very different from now.
Yeah, also I usually work as a musician with traditional musicians, so it's not a really new thing for me, but I've never worked with vocals, so it will be pretty challenging. I work with guitar player in Rome. We had another project called Grid Shape that is for classic guitar and electronic music. I use basically the same principle as I use in Petline Number 1 for the audio. So I use the same software that is my workstation made in Max, but I do not use any kind of audio sample. I use only the sound from the guitar, and it's completely different from other works.
Now Sean Carroll, who's the festival director here for the M4U convention, has been talking to me about the different uses that Max MSP can be used for, and obviously to walk around somewhere like this, and certainly talking to David Zuccarelli this morning, the CEO of Cycling 74. He said he's amazed to meet almost like a new audience that they didn't realise were out there using the software. Do you think it allows people to experiment really well? Because everyone I've spoken to here, they've found the software and then they've taken it in their own direction, and it really allows you to explore more because it helps.
So I think I can reply to you from a teacher point of view. So in Rome I also have students because I teach computer vision and interaction design to the student, and I use Max to do that. So basically they are graphic designer or media designer or classical sound designer. When they get in touch with Max, it's pretty the first step is pretty difficult because they found this blank page, and I say them, okay, let's start to connect objects, and they cannot figure out why they have to do that when they have simple software to make music or graphics or visuals. Then when they discover what you really can do with Max, for example, the computer vision stuff is one of the most amazing things they discover, because simply connecting a webcam, they can control sounds, images, and so on. Also working with Arduino is pretty interesting for them. So, and the fascinating thing is that, we talk about art, music, visual art, mixed media, but when you get in touch with this kind of software, you discover also an artistic technical part that I think is the most interesting thing, because that push you to discover something like connection between mathematics and art. You know? So you go through different things that is not simply making art. It's making art in a different way. There's a little bit ancient Greek stuff like Pythagoras, everything is number. So you can do everything with number.
I tell you what's really interesting about interviewing you guys is literally as you started talking about teaching people, that your character completely changed. You lit up and you just almost came alive. And literally every person that I've spoken to here, you introduce yourself to them and they're very friendly and all that sort of stuff. And then as soon as you ask them about what they do, they change, and then you change the game talking about that. So it's fantastic. You've really come across that you're really kind of quite passionate about the teaching side. You clearly love the performance side, but the teaching side is it that kind of almost opening the door for people to discover something that they think is not what they want to do? So.
Oh, well, I really like to teach. I also really like to perform, but it's quite different because performing is something more intimistic maybe. So it's more difficult to talk about a performance or artistic stuff. While teaching is something really communicative and sharing knowledge with the guys. Sometimes they are really young guys. Sometimes they have my age. I'm 29 years old, so I'm not so old. But so talking about teaching is quite important to me because it really changed the way. When I teach, I also learn because giving my point of view about something to a guy of 20 years old, it's important because he gives me a feedback. Maybe I teach how to do something and she come back the next lesson with the same thing made in another way. And it's really important to me. It's quite a double feedback. No? It's a
Brilliant.
Feedback system. It's amazing.
Now your performance this evening is at 9:30, is that right?
Yeah.
And you'll be performing here in the Screen Lounge of Phoenix Square. That's great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And good luck for later.
Thank you.